This is Jose Claudio with LGM Marketing Group. By the end of this video, you're going to know how much a small business should pay for a website. Now, by the end of this video, you know how much you should pay, and you should also find out what features you need to have on the website. Now, all this content that's in this video, all this information, we have a post on our website. If you Google search LGM Marketing Group, how much does a small business website cost? Our results should be one of the top ones, top three, and you'll be able to see infographics, more videos, and our cited resources on this information. So if you like this type of content, please give us a like. And going right into it, a website typically for a small business is going to cost anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000. And look, I've started several small businesses, and I know $1,000 is a big investment. At least for me, I wasn't born into money. I didn't have, the luxury of, a big budget in any of my businesses that I started. Okay, so that's why when I saw that it costs $2,000 to $10,000 to start to create a website, I knew that I had to figure out how to do this and how to do it affordably, cost effectively. So many years ago, that's how I started. I started because of that, because of necessity. I didn't have the budget. So if you go to the post, our blog post, you'll see the cited source. It's the number one result. When you search that, we cite that result, and it has the metric, it has that statistic of between 2 and 10 grand, and it's because depending on the size of the website. But regardless, so you're talking about $2,000 for as small of a website as you can get. Okay, now there's ways to get that price down, especially now with the technology that we have. No longer do you have to code a whole website. So no longer do you have to invest that much. But the thing is, marketing companies, web design companies, that's what they're charging because they're still doing it the old-fashioned way. Now, not everyone, but the large majority of them, that's what they do. And some of them will actually do it the modern way and still charge the old school way as if they're still coding a whole website. Okay, so you have to be mindful of that. So with us, with LGM Marketing Group, what we would do is create a website on the WordPress theme where we would reuse a theme that's already been used. So there's hardly any coding involved, and it cuts down the time tremendously. The problem is when you build a website from scratch, when you have to do all the coding, it takes a long time to do. And so, yeah, you're going to have to, charge $2,000. So it makes sense. But when you can cut down the time drastically and have a whole website done, every tab, everything done in a couple of days, there's no reason why it should cost more than $2,000. It should, $1,500, maybe $1,000. So also the average, I would say, for a web design company to charge for a website like that, which should be somewhere around $1,500. If it's a simple site, you can get away with somewhere around $1,000, maybe a few $100s under $1,000. So somewhere between, I would say, if you get your website done professionally and it's done optimized in an optimized way where it's going to rank on Google, because what good is it if you get a website that it doesn't rank on Google? The whole purpose is to get on Google or Bing, so on a search engine, so that way your customers can find you. So getting a website done professionally where it's going to get ranked, it's going to get recognized, people can find you, between $5,000 and $1,000. I feel that if you are somewhere in there, you got a good deal. So again, as I said, if you should be able to get that if you find a web design company that's going to reuse a theme. Now, with us, what we do is we have you buy the domain name. So you can go to GoDaddy and whoever else you want to go, HostGator, and get your domain name. Namecheap is another one. So there's many different ones, and you can get your domain name, and then what we would do is build your website. We would host it on a server, and then we would get you to point, or we would do it for you. We would point the domain name to that website, and that's how we would work. And now there's also a cost per month for a website. Depending on the size of the website, but you're going to be somewhere around $50 a month, and it's usually for hosting of your website, because just because you built the website, well, that's not the end of the cost. You have to host it somewhere. It needs to be housed on a server, so that way when people go and type in that domain name, they can go and find the website, because it's being hosted, it's being stored somewhere. So that's why it's important for you to get a good hosting service, so that way, because if the servers crash and you are running ads for an e-commerce site, which I've seen, right? So let's just say you sell physical product, you're spending $500 a day on a marketing platform, and then the servers crash and you don't even realize it for half a day, for a full day, and you just spent your whole ad budget. Everyone who clicked through landed on a broken link, a website that's not working. So this is why it's extremely important, and you don't want to. It's already hard to get conversions, right? So you don't want to miss any conversions whatsoever, and so that's why we have different packages. Our packages are anywhere between $27 a month to somewhere around $57 a month. The $57 a month is on a cloud-based server, so it's reliable, it's fast, and we know that the website speed is a ranking factor with Google, and it adds to the user experience. So you're going to have a better bounce rate. That also shows Google that this is a great user experience, and Google has already come out and said that that's their main focus. So this is why it's very important to have a fast server. And so make sure that when you're getting your website services done, you ask that, like, okay, where is this going to be, where's the website going to be hosted? And just ask questions. Is it a cloud-based server or not? So, and what the way the cloud-based server works is, our hosting server is that your website is hosted in many different servers throughout the world. And it's literally a duplicate of your website. So there'll be one in, let's just say, the East Coast of the United States, and one on the West Coast of the United States, one in Europe, let's just say, right? And just everywhere. So now if somebody's in Europe and they go into your website, they go into the server that's in Europe. And so their load speed is going to be a lot faster. And so if somebody goes on the East Coast, they're in New York, they're in Florida, they're in Virginia, they're going to go and log into the server that's in your website is going to load from the server that's on the West Coast of the United States, and then obviously the same thing on the West Coast. So that's why a cloud-based hosting service for your website is really good, because of the load speed times and features that you want to make sure that you have on your website are going to be the whole purpose of the website is to get conversions, to get visitors to do something, to perform an action. It's called a call to action in marketing. So now you have the number one thing you need to have once your website is done and it's optimized, right? You need to have a call to action. What is the ultimate goal? Do you want people to call you? Do you want people to email you? Do you want people to buy a physical product? Whatever it is. So you need to work, and that all these steps is called a sales funnel, right? So you need to make sure that your website has a sales funnel that flows the visitors to your call to action, and then obviously your call to action should depending on what it is, it should typically be above the fold on your website. And so these are all things that when you are getting your website and you're discussing the cost of it and the features, you need to ask these things. Where is the call to action going to be? How are we going to work that? I want my phone number to be posted above the fold. I want to make sure that people don't have to scroll to the bottom of the page to find my contact information, so on and so forth. So you also, if it makes sense, you want a chat box. You can, for an inexpensive investment, you can get a chat box where it's monitored by a company, and that way they can get people's information. They'll answer basic questions, and what you can do is it looks very professional, and then at the same time you can get back in contact with these visitors and answer more questions that they may have. So also you want to make sure that you get SSL security onto your website. There's a lot of web design companies that don't include SSL security, and they say, oh, well, if it's not an e-commerce website, we don't need to put SSL security. But no, baloney. Everything needs to show that you have a reputable website, reputable business, a professional service, and if they get the customer gets a big banner saying, oh, that, this is not a secure website. If you want to proceed, click here, proceed at your own risk, and it's a banner from Google, that's a huge red flag. You're going to get a lot of people to click out of that website. So, and then also you want to do an email capture, so that way you can, the people that you don't convert with, you can get an email capture and you can follow up with them. And the conversion, out of all the types of marketing, email capture is one of the highest converting, because it's warm traffic. They already know about your brand. They already know about your service. They already know who you are. So if you get their email and you follow up with an email, hey, how can I assist you? What questions do you have? And so on and so forth, you should be able to convert. And so at a high rate. And, I also want to mention, okay, should you, a lot of people say, oh, can I just build my own website? And yeah, absolutely. It's just going to take a lot of time. You're going to have to know what applications to use. I recommend doing it on WordPress, because you have so many applications that you can use, and you can literally put, different types of applications, as long as you don't go crazy with it. I wouldn't recommend doing anything more than 20 apps, because then your website load speed is going to suffer. So what you want to do is maybe get a Forms application. The good ones are all the good applications are going to have an investment involved with it. The good ones are not free. If they're free, they're typically not going to be as good. So I would recommend using a paid application, and you can get for chat boxes, you can get for themes, you can get for your call to action, you can get for making your pictures compress your files. There's just numerous different types of applications that can make it easy for you when you're making your website. Now, are you going to be able to do it all in one day? Probably not. You're going to have to learn a lot if you're doing it on your own. Again, you can do it on your own, but it's going to take you some time to figure it all out. And then even after that, are you going to be able to do it in an optimized way where you'll be able to rank on Google, and you're going to be able to, you figure out, make sure you have your meta descriptions and your meta titles and so on and so forth. Again, you're going to invest all that time and money into all of this, and it's going to be for nothing if you're not ranking. So, we have other videos that we talk about website design and the importance of websites. So I would go and take a look at our different websites. Our different videos, right? Because we have valuable information. And if you are interested in a website, I would recommend, and whether you're looking at investing in one or getting a company to do one for you, or you're going to do it yourself, I would recommend to definitely consume yourself in as much free content as possible, right? Because you don't want to mess this up. This is a huge deal. So again, we have all this good information. I advise you to subscribe to our channel so that way you're notified of any other information that we may have. And again, if you Google search LGM Marketing Group, you can find our blog where we have tons of information. And in this case, if you want more information about this, you would do LGM Marketing Group. How much does a small business website cost? And if you have any questions, or if you want to know anything whatsoever about this topic or marketing in general, drop a comment and I'll make sure to answer any comments that are dropped into the comment box below. So again, this is Jose Claudio with LGM Marketing Group.